respect Terence Crawford. He's a very talented
Yeah.
fighter, but he just win uh, one big fight. If you see his record, he just beat one good fighter like Errol Spence is.
Yes.
But other than that, I don't think he's beating other great fighter like Spence. He did a really good job with the Spence. He did like almost look very easy but I knew Terence Crawford is a great fighter. But you never know in boxing. We'll see.
So, boxing pound for pound number one, Terence Bud Crawford responded to Canelo Alvarez stating that Crawford only has one good win. In other words, he didn't fight nobody but Errol Spence. Terence Crawford said, quote, "Here we go with that I haven't fought nobody but Spence talk. Laugh out loud. Y'all so delusional, it's crazy. Laughing emoji." End of the quote. Remember, the last time somebody said Crawford didn't fight anybody was Errol Spence, and we all saw what happened to him. Crawford delivered the biggest ass whipping of the century for that, and it seems like Canelo is next to follow. At the end of the day, or at least the night, Canelo can repeat the haters' narrative all he wants, but that won't change the fact Crawford is still pound for pound number one, and Crawford has a better resume than Canelo when it comes to the fighters he beat. See, we're not talking about the fighters he lost to, because that don't even count. We talking about the fighters Canelo beat. Ultimately, Crawford beat better opponents than Canelo. So for Canelo to have the audacity to say something like that is mind-blowing, because we can't ignore the fact Crawford knocked out Shawn Porter, a fighter who has never been knocked out before. We can all agree Canelo has never had a dominant performance like Crawford did against Errol Spence, nor a knockout win like Crawford did against Errol Spence and Shawn Porter. In fact, forget about the Errol Spence win. Canelo Alvarez has never knocked out an opponent on the level of Shawn Porter like Crawford did. Every time Canelo stepped up in competition against good oppositions that are not even on the level of a Shawn Porter, Canelo either ends up robbing his opponent like he did against Lara, or the fight ends up being so close that it could have went either way. The irony of it all, for Canelo to have the audacity to say anything about Crawford like that, when Crawford already beat the likes of Errol Spence, Shawn Porter, Kell Brook, Benavidez, Amir Khan, Jeff Horn, Postal, Gamboa, Prescott, and the list goes on and on and on to become a 3-division world champ and a 2 times undisputed champion, the first one to ever do it in the 4 belts era. Crawford did it against all of these named opponents I just mentioned. I mean, at this point, this is not up for debate. You can say Crawford arguably has the best resume in boxing. So what the heck is Canelo talking about? Last time I checked, Crawford has been on the pound for pound list for a decade, before Canelo even entered the pound for pound list. And when Canelo is no longer on the pound for pound list 10 years later, guess who's still on top of the throne on the pound for pound list? That's right, no other than Crawford. Since Bivol beat the pound for pound list out of Canelo, he kicked Canelo out of the pound for pound list. The beatdown was so bad, Canelo didn't even want to get his revenge. To make matters worse, it was a loss and a cherry pick gone wrong. Bivol was supposed to be a nobody. So guess what? A nobody ended up beating Canelo. That's how bad Canelo is. I mean, how bad can it get? Canelo is over here ducking, cherry picking, and still losing to nobodies. And to be clear, when I say a nobody, it means a fighter that the public doesn't know, not a name opponent. On the other hand, Crawford is fighting the best, never ducked anybody, and he has dominated or knocked out every single A-level opposition he fought against actual name opponents that I mentioned earlier. So think about that. Crawford is not just dominating name opponents, he's also dominating great fighters such as Errol Spence in a fight that was supposed to be the fight of the decade, a 50-50 fight. However, Crawford turned that fight into the ass whipping of the century. That's how dominant Crawford was. The only time we see Canelo that dominant is usually when Canelo is the one that's getting his ass beat, respectfully, by Floyd and Bivol. However, every time Canelo went up against a good opponent in a 50-50 fight, like I said before, the fight either ends up in a robbery or a controversial decision, such as Lara and Triple G. Canelo literally got caught using steroids against Triple G, and he still couldn't dominate. Therefore, when Canelo said that, clearly he's envious and jealous of the success and praise Crawford has been receiving for the Errol Spence win and for knocking out every single opponent for the past 6 years at the highest level, something Canelo could never do, even while he's cheating on steroids. That's a fact. That's not up for debate. But we shall see if Canelo is going to be able to be victorious against Charlo and what he's going to do next. Is he going to fight Crawford after Crawford has to move up 3 weight divisions? Surprisingly, even then, fans, experts, and fighters alike are favoring Crawford to beat Canelo. In fact, Oscar De La Hoya came out recently stating that Canelo's feet are stuck in mud. In other words, he has no footwork. While Crawford, it's like he floating on water, the way his footwork is connected with his upper body movement. That's why Oscar De La Hoya said he sees Crawford beating Canelo like a kid, even though Crawford has to move up 3 weight divisions. Like I said before, if Canelo and Crawford were fighting in the same division, Canelo will never fight Crawford because most likely Crawford will knock out Canelo in less than 3 rounds. I mean, even Canelo admitted nobody beats Crawford at 147 to 154. Nobody. He sees nobody beating Crawford. What's shocking about that is Canelo came out stating that all of the 147 pounders are bigger than him. So if that's the case, how come he don't fight Crawford at 154 then, or 147? Well, the obvious answer, according to Canelo, is because nobody beats Crawford at 147 nor at 154. That's the ultimate reason Canelo doesn't want to fight Crawford at 154 nor 147. Remember, I didn't say all of this. Canelo did. He said out of his own mouth that all of the 147 pounders are bigger than him. With the facts being laid out, drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe below. And to be continued on the next episode of Akhi TV. Peace out. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Terence Crawford will beat Canelo anytime. Just with the skill set alone, Terence Crawford is a master. He will make him look like a child. And that's just my boxing experience. Do I want Canelo to win? Yes. You know, I promoted Canelo and I want the best for him, and then I want the best for any fighter. But from a promoter's view, from an expert view, from a fighter's view, and don't forget it, it's 10 world titles in 6 divisions. From that perspective, Crawford will beat him in a master performance, master class, any given day.
Why can he overcome the 3 weight divisions?
Talent. Talent alone. Look at Canelo's footwork. He's walking on cement. Look at Crawford's footwork. He coordinates it with his upper body. His footwork, it's just incredible.
Correction, but he wasn't undisputed. Sorry, Derek. Sorry, sir. You tried it. But yes, once again, I will be the first male boxer to actually capture the welterweight champion in 2 divisions, and that will solidify me as the greatest fighter of this era.
Definitely not, man. I'm not gonna lie, Tyron got the best matchmakers in the business. You ain't fought nobody, man. You haven't beat anybody undisputed at 140. Who you fought at 135, and who you fought at 147. Even You fought Sean Porter. Even Sean Porter said.
What did I do to Sean Porter that you couldn't
Sean
do?
Porter.
I can assure you, I can promise you, y'all gonna walk away and y'all gonna say, that kid is special. And y'all gonna mark me as one of the greatest of all time. Right along with the Floyds, the Alis, the Fraziers. And y'all can sit there and say, oh, well, you ain't fought nobody. And my reply to that is, I guess Errol is just another nobody that I fought.